I feel it calling my name, but the pain just makes me on the edge. I almost gave up, came so tired of pretend. I refuse to let it drive me insane and go back to where it all began. I don't do it for me, I don't do it for likes, I don't do it for love, I do it for the win.
What's up, world? I'm your boy Samson, and on this episode of Just Kickn It, we kicking it with Coop today. Who is Coop?
Man, who is Coop? That name right there, man. That's one of those childhood names that you get, growing up playing basketball. It developed from just being in high school, being in grammar school, and all my friends just start calling me Coop. Just naturally it came. That's my last name is Coopwood, and so everybody just start calling me Coop.
And so, what is entrepreneurship to you? What it means to you?
Entrepreneurship it's a fulfillment. You know what I mean? And so everybody have different reasons on why they are fulfilled. And so for me personally, entrepreneurship is just flexibility and freedom.
So when did you decide, like, hey, I'm gonna take this road to being an entrepreneur rather than having a 9-to-5? When was that leap taken?
People would have killed for the job that I had. I was working 2, 3, maybe 4 days a week. Making 6 figures at a job, man. Making well over $100,000 a year, and people would line up for that kind of job even today. And so we're talking about 4 or 5 years ago, where I decided that for me, I wanted to do something that gave me more fulfillment. I noticed myself, being at work and just really kind of like feeling like this ain't it. For me to be in the type of position I had, to have the seniority that I had, and just to be making the kind of money that I make, I felt like I needed to be a little bit more flexible, a little bit more free. I didn't have no financial complaints, but I had a complaint of feeling like I was like always locked down and caged up, and I didn't like that feeling. And I felt like, if a job could pay me, 100 plus a year, I felt like on my own I could at least get a good income, for sure.
So, with all that being said, did you develop that, or was it always in you to be an entrepreneur?
All right, so I felt like it's always been there. It's always been in me. I just never really knew how to tap into it. And so even while working a gig, I was doing the clothing line. I did that for a few years, and but it was like do something on the side. And it was like I was naturally and organically just kind of, I guess, venturing into entrepreneurship, not really knowing it. And I think what really stopped me from actually taking that jump back when I had my clothing line is because I just didn't have a mentor. To be honest with you, I didn't know what direction to go in. I didn't know, honestly, because when I got out of college, man, that was my first gig. So I'm thinking that okay, this is a sweet job. I'm making 6 figures. I'm thinking I'm gonna retire here. I'm cool. I ain't got no issues. I ain't got no worries. And so I never really understood or knew what entrepreneurship was, or how that lane worked, or how that lifestyle really would fit me, if it was gonna fit me well or whatnot. And the only reason why is because, I just didn't really have a mentor. That was it, man, to be honest with you.
So what brought that out of you? Like, what brought the entrepreneurship out of you, or who influenced you, or anything like that? Who brought it out of you?
That's a good question. I think, I had some moments with myself where I just really, really wanted more. I felt like I was working more than I really enjoyed life, to be honest. I was like, man, I'm going to work all the time. There were times where I got up and I went to work. I had to be at the store at 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning. New iPhone come out. They need us to be there early, get the store set up. And so I would be there from let's say 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's 12 hours.
Right.
Then I got to go home and I'm asleep for 8. You know what I mean? And it's like the day is, that's it. So I didn't have a whole lot of freedom. I wasn't really living. I thought I was living, but I wasn't living.
Right.
And so, it just got to a point to where, when I decided that I wanted to do something different, I got into financial services and I had multiple mentors. Man, I had a lot of people who had been in the industry for years. And, when I got into that industry, they embraced me, gave me the game, gave me knowledge, helped me understand. And so as I had a point where I was transitioning though. So I was like, I want to lead a gig, but I'm not really sure what I want to do. So I started like searching, just started kind of talking,
that
networking with people. Yeah, I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And you know, I didn't really decide what direction I was gonna go in and what I was gonna do before I actually left. But you know, left the gig alone, and then like literally, I waited like maybe 45 days before I made a decision on what industry I was gonna go in and what I was gonna do. I just kind of relaxed a little bit and wanted to take a deep breath because it's like, man, I worked 8 years straight.
Right.
I need some relaxed time. Like I need some time for me. I need to like regroup. I need to figure this thing. Right. I need to recoup. I need to figure this thing out. And so I went into financial services, and that was cool too. But it was a short-lived term. But I had fun with that, man. God set that up for me too. So I can't be mad at that at all. Can't.
So what gave you the phenomenal power?
Got you. I like how you put that too. Yes, sir. You know what, man? It was me just praying. Because again, you know, I just felt like, man, God has always just really truly been blessing me, man, throughout my life. You know, just from high school playing ball, going to college playing ball, then graduating, and my first real job, you know, working at Sprint and landing that gig, and then being able to grow with that company, flourish with them and make 6 figures, and then leave there and then go to financial services and make 6 figures. And so what happened was, when in financial services, man, I got to a point where again, it just wasn't there. Like I was a little bit more flexible. I was a little bit more free. I was living life more. You know, I didn't have to punch no clock. I woke up on my terms. My day was my day.
Right.
You know, I was making more money than I was making on the job now. So it was like I got to a point where I was working less and making more.
Right.
I was like, this is crazy. Nobody never told me about this.
Right.
You know, they didn't. You know, they this ain't the kind of stuff in school that they teach.
Right.
You know, so I got to a point where even in financial services, I feel like I had reached like a plateau, not in income, because you can make millions and millions of dollars, you know, in financial services or any kind of industry and business for yourself. But I got to a point to where, with the company that I was at, you know, I had basically kind of dominated every category. I was number one in every single category other than income, because there was people in the company, you know, making way more money than me. But every category other than income, I was number one. And I had got to a point where, you know, I was just like, man, I'm like maxed out. It's 3 years. I didn't 3 years consistently. I'm number one in every category y'all got other than income. And I'm just like, you know, I felt like I had dominated that, just like how I felt like I dominated Sprint and T-Mobile. Like at both at Sprint and T-Mobile, I was the number one store manager nationwide. At both of them, we talking about Fortune 500 companies. Like this young African American male from the South Side of Chicago dominate every store nationwide, and it was like, to do that again in entrepreneurship and financial services, I was like, well, man, come on, I prayed. I said, God, I need you to give me something that you could, you know, let me lay my hands on, where not only am I going to be able to get the flexibility and freedom, but I could really truly give it to other people. Because in financial services, I was giving that to people. But to be honest with you, you know, before you even get into that industry, you got to take a license. You got to get a license. You got to take an exam. You got to do all of this studying. And so I lost a lot of people in that transition. And then when people did pass the exam, when they came over, it was just like they really couldn't, you know, like focus enough, or they really couldn't withstand like what it meant to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
But I didn't like the fact that, you know, you had to go through the licensing process. So for me, I lost a lot of people just on people not saying, I don't want to sit here and study, and then I don't have like $500 or $1,000 to pay for the licenses in the process. So it was like, people want to come make money.
Right.
And they need something that they can get into right now and start making bread right away.
Right.
And so for me, I was like, this not working for the people. I can't really lead people the way I want to with this type of opportunity. And there's nothing to take away from that. But I said, I want something where I can make it a little bit more easy for the people that's following me, and then for them to be able to make it easy for the people that's following them too. And so, you know, I was praying, and you know, I got a call one day where a guy, you know, he offered me an opportunity. It was a job, but he offered me an opportunity. He said, look, I want to pay you $100,000, work from the house. You know, he said, come to the office maybe one day a week. He said, you know, sell some houses and stuff with me. You know, he said, I want you to be one of my, you know, my lenders and help me sell these houses. I said, well, no disrespect, I don't want to gig. I said, if you got something business orientated for me, I said, I would prefer to do that. And so he made a connection. He made a call, connected me with his son, who obviously was in the solar industry before I even got into it. And long story short, he became my mentor.
Okay.
And so, you know, he's been in this industry now for like 8-9 years, on the West Coast out in California. And shout out to my man Brandon Patello. And you know, me and him, man, we connected. He flew me out to California. I spent the weekend out there, me and my wife. He kind of showed us around the city, showed us major love. And that's how Phenomenal Power got birthed and got started. He was like, man, I'm going to mentor you through the process. You go ahead and get your own company started, and I'm going to hold you down on the back end. So that's kind of how this thing got started.
So with you choosing to being number one for yourself, because you was number one, you said at T-Mobile, at Sprint, with the financial company. So Phenomenal Power, you number one now. So how is that different now?
Because
being number one for yourself.
Man, that is an excellent question. You hit it right on the head. I was putting in a lot of work and building up other people's companies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like I had a realization too that with that, I can't get that to my daughter.
Right.
Like, I can't get that to my son. I got 3 kids. It's
right.
like if I would have stayed there and I retired there, what I'm giving them none.
Right.
I ain't giving them none. Like they got to go get another job and it's gonna repeat the cycle. So the reality behind it is that Phenomenal Power ain't no difference than being a Sprint or being a T-Mobile or being a Ford. Like it's all the same stuff. Like at some point in time, somebody had a dream, somebody had some goals and some desires and some dreams and say, you know what, I'm gonna get this started and I'm gonna put people in position. So for me, I really truly went from, like you said, being number one at another company to now for me, it ain't even really about me. Like I'm not on the leaders board in this company. Like for me, it's about giving other people the opportunity to be number one.
Right.
So now I'm handing out, I'm cutting the checks. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm giving out the awards. I'm giving out the trophies. I'm giving out the top 10. I'm clapping for people. I'm applauding people. I'm rewarding people. So I'm doing all the recognition. I think that for me, that's really like I get more joy in seeing other people be successful than really myself. Like that's what really drove me away from the job because I was just like, you know what? I'm like, man, at Sprint and T-Mobile, I can't get nobody to the level that I'm at. Like, I can't get you the store manager. I can't get you the district manager. Like, I can't get you to, 6 figures. I can't. Like, the only way for you to get that, you got to replace me.
Right.
And you ain't replacing me.
Indeed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't to be replaced. Like, that's just the situation was what it was. You know what I mean?
And that's one thing that people don't see in entrepreneurship. Like, to be a great entrepreneur, one, you got to be able to lead and follow.
Facts.
And you're going to have to be able to clap for the people for their wins and their victory and be happy for other people to win because it's like, it's all about, you know what I'm saying, like how we linking now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's Phenomenal Power. So it's like you have to be able to cheer people on like, hey, man, I'm proud of you, do that.
That's it.
Because that's how it keeps us going and being an entrepreneur because it's like you don't have that whole team like a T-Mobile or whatever. Yeah. You be like, oh, yeah, Coop, you doing that. Now you got your guys like, man, I see you. I see you. It brings a lot in.
Yep.
So in high school, you know how they teach us, like you go to college, you get a degree, and you get a job. Mm-hmm. And they say it's like, oh, it's going to be 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
But being an entrepreneur, like, I know you talked about your ups, but like, what were some of your downs, like, in getting to where you are now?
Yeah. I think that's probably going to be one of the best questions, and I'm gonna get the best response that I can.
Okay.
So I think the best response for that, man, is just really, everybody got something that they want to do. Everybody got a lane that they want to tap into. The first thing I'll say is, when it comes down to what you decide you want to do, go ahead and do that. Don't ask nobody else for their opinion. Mm-hmm. Not even your wife or your husband, like your mama, your daddy. Like, don't ask them if you want to be a hairstylist, you want to be a barber, if you want to go open up that business, if you want to go whatever you want to do. Don't ask people around you who ain't never did what you're trying to do for their opinion. Because what they end up doing is they're going to end up talking you out of it. Mm-hmm. They're going to end up telling you it ain't going to work.
Right.
They're going to end up telling you all of the negatives and all of you're going to have all of these naysayers. But what I will say is, and the reason why I'm saying all that is because for me personally, when I got started, when you talk about you got ups. Everybody just see the ups.
Right. Everybody
even on Facebook, social media, all that, all you show is, hey, look, I'm winning.
They see it.
And you don't talk about how you cried yesterday in that bathroom.
They never see it.
Like, you know what I mean?
With your ups, they always see your success. So
That's
it.
Like,
so it's like with family, like say if like with me, if I do whatever, and I'm not saying my family per se, but like say you with the clothing line. What if your clothing line just took off? Mm-hmm. Now your family be like, oh yeah, that's my cousin. That's cousin Coop.
Facts.
You feel what I'm saying?
Facts.
But when you down and when you're trying to get it out the trenches, ain't nobody there.